Booger, again, we heard the rumblings through the weekend and the meetings within the Big Ten and all the conferences, but now it's official with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 postponing not just college football, but all fall sports. Your first reaction was what?
Well, I think based on those rumblings, Sage, it was expected. And I think that, we all kind of got mesmerized by the hashtag we want to play and how Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields went viral and everyone's saying, hey, look, the kids, they're ready to play. And I was never fooled by that because ultimately these decisions were going to be made by the presidents and the school council. And at some point, the president had to go into the school council's office and say, hey, from a liability standpoint, we're not talking about right now, not today, not tomorrow, not in the next couple of weeks, but 5, 10, 15 years down the road, when some of these kids become ill, if they do become ill from the adverse effects of COVID, are we going to be liable? And if so, can we afford to do that? And when the lawyers tell them, no, we can't, then that's an easy decision for the presidents because we don't know all the facts, especially when it comes out, Sage, about the lingering effects from a cardiovascular issue. The heart is something that you're not going to play with, especially when you're dealing with large, big men, which offensive linemen and defensive linemen are in college football. So shock still. I feel bad for these kids.
Yeah.
I've been in that position, getting ready for a season and understanding like my life, all my dreams are in front of me, and for somebody just to take it away in a meeting, I'm pretty sure that hurts, and my heart goes out to those kids.
Absolutely. You've got to feel for them that personal level. We've heard several people over the last few weeks, though, talk about, of course, health and safety being first, but many people at these universities and these athletic departments saying the safest place, in their opinion, is actually within the confines of a structured football program, for example, versus just being on campus and being more free. What's your take on that and that thought process, which I understand that too?
Well, the problem with the college campus and the college atmosphere, in my opinion, Sage, is that once you bring the students back on campus and now you interact the athletes with the students, now you have a whole different mixture. That's number one. But the biggest issue is that these are amateur athletes. These are amateur student athletes that the NCAA has continued to tell us that you guys are student athletes and we're helping you make those decisions. So how can you ask a 17 to 21-year-old person to be on campus and take that risk? Whether your school is doing classes online or not, you're still going to be in that environment. And I think that's the biggest difference between college football and college sports and the NFL, because there are those people out there that are saying, well, look what the NFL is doing. Look what the NBA is doing. Look what Major League Baseball is doing. And all those things are true because they are professional organizations. They have a union. They have somebody that's speaking for them. They have somebody that's representing them at the table. They have somebody that has their best interest in mind. College athletics don't have that. So regardless of what you're trying to create on the collegiate level, you're not going to have the same representation and the same protocol that you have professionally. So we tried, everyone around the country has tried to get this movement going, try to play college football, but this has nothing to do with it. You have an amateur organization in every college institution. You have student athletes who have to have somebody make the decision for them. And those presidents, the chancellors, and the lawyers, they're not thinking about the right now. They are thinking long term. And as long as they're doing that, they're going to always err on the side of caution. And this is a cautious move, which they think is in the long term benefit of these kids.
And again, you've talked about, we've talked for years, frankly, about what needs to change in the NCAA. And maybe now more than ever before, I think everybody's feeling that effect. Let's look ahead, though, Booger, to the spring. If, and that is a huge if they end up playing football in the spring, how does that go down? How does that influence next year, next season in the NFL, certainly with the draft?
I think you got to look at it on a couple of different levels. Let's tackle the college football part of it first, Sage. There's been a big push over the last several years to talk about health and safety. So realistically, how can you ask kids to play 2 college football seasons in 1 calendar year? I haven't seen any data anywhere that says that's safe. As a matter of fact, all the data I've seen, there's data that says it's not healthy to play 1 college football season. So that's number one. How are you going to do that from a collegiate level? Talk about the secondary aspect. What are the top players going to do? Are those top players like a Trevor Lawrence, like a Justin Fields, are they going to play? Probably not. If it were me and I was a guy that had an opportunity to be a first-round draft pick and someone said, hey, come on, play for LSU in the spring, I'm like, yeah, I love them, but no, I'm not going to do it because I'm playing for the NFL. So all those top prospects are going to go on and play in the NFL. And then, lastly, as it pertains to that, the NFL, Sage, is not going to move. Roger Goodell has shown us over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, they're not changing. Well, how are you going to do free agency? We'll show you. They did free agency. How are you going to do the draft? We'll show you. They did the draft. The NFL season is supposed to kick off September 10th. That is less than 1 calendar month from right now. The NFL is not changing. They are moving full steam ahead. So, quite frankly, Sage, long-winded answer, I don't see a way that the spring football season would work based on the calendar, nor if you could make the calendar work, are you going to be able to get the top prospects to play, because the NFL is not going to change their calendar. So spring, it sounds good, but are you realistically going to be able to do it? I don't think so.
It's almost like they're dangling it out there like, no, we haven't canceled yet, just postpone, just to make people feel a little bit better. But at the end of the day, you said it, Kirk just said it too. If you're a top prospect, it's not worth playing as much as you are loyal to your team and to your school. Booger McFarland with insight on a really tough day for so many college athletes around the country. Thanks, Booger.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.